off! 5,000 mile run across Canada! Okay, so what am I? I know what you're thinking. Nuts? Crazy? Sorry to let you down, but I'm actually just a normal bloke from Gloucester in England. I know, disappointing, but I found something in here and I call it the superhero within. So I'm going to share my story and I hope that you find the superhero within you. So I'm going to take you to the greatest challenge of my life where I put my hand in the Atlantic Ocean and the mission was to run 5,000 miles or 200 marathons on a 1-year visa to put my hand in the Pacific. But if you look, it's just a straight line. It's not like you could ever get lost, is it? I've seen that sign before! I've gone the wrong way! How have I done it? Ah! Have you all done that before? So how I done it was with a backpack. I ran with a backpack, but it was too heavy. After 2 weeks, my foot then went crack. So I thought I'd broken my foot, but I had to get a bone scan. Luckily, it was just ligament damage. So I changed to a pram or a buggy. There should have been a baby in it, but instead I had my life possessions. But after another few more weeks of running, I started to feel quite lonely. So I saw this house in the distance. I thought, I've got to do it. So I went up and I knocked on the door. I was like, hi, I'm running across Canada. Is there any chance I can camp on your lawn? But in my brain, I was just thinking, please let me in. And then this woman that answered, she said, no, you can't. Off you go, will you, boy? And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't want to disturb you. And she said, well, who are you anyway? And I said, well, like I'm running and stuff. And she said, right, just wait there, will you? And then she went off and she came back 5 minutes later and she said, right, now I've just Googled you and you're real. So she let me set up my tent. And then she came back out 5 minutes later and she said, stop setting up your tent. There's a motel and a key waiting for you and it's all paid for. I entered Daisy's home as a complete and utter stranger and we drank tea and biscuits all evening and we become friends and she said, I'm going to support you for the rest of the journey. And she did. If I'd have knocked on your door, what would you have done? So I want to tell you about the toughest choice that I had in Canada. So to my right was a shorter route across Canada and to my left is an extra 15 marathons. Which road would you take? It's just human nature, isn't it, that we'll always take the easy road. In the end, I had to go with my heart, and this is where I ended up at the end of the 15 marathons. I landed at the children's hospital that I was raising money for, and they're the doctors and nurses that you see in the blue tops, and a kid dressed up as Spider-Man who's a sick kid. In the end, those 15 marathons raised $20,000 extra for the hospital. Something I haven't shared with you is I spent the first 9 years of my life most of the time in hospital with a rare spinal condition where sometimes I couldn't move my legs. But when I was 9 years old, I began moving and eventually all the symptoms just disappeared, and it's really thanks to the hospital too that I'm kind of here today. So in my later years, I got a job and I started saving up to put a deposit on a house, and I went to sign the papers. And then I just got this like gut feeling in my stomach where I was like, something's wrong. Do you know that gut feeling that you get? And in the end, I kind of pulled out and then I went through this thought process. I've done this with paint. So this is serious stuff. What I want you to do now is just take a moment for yourselves to think about, what does more to life mean to you? For me, I ended up going back to the children's hospital where I spent most of my life, and I just felt like there must be more. And so I went on this mission of cycling around the world and giving back and fundraising. And on my final fundraiser, I entered the children's hospital to this. They ended up building a new school playroom, and I left there just thinking maybe I should just keep doing this and maybe I should start helping sick kids across the world. So I'm going to take you straight back into the thick of the Canadian adventure, one of my favourite places. So it started to get really cold in Canada, so much so I got frostbite on my nose and lost the ending of it. But I made it to the Rocky Mountains, and this was the moment where everyone started sending me messages, police rangers saying, don't cross the Rocky Mountains in the winter. You're putting your life in danger. And then I received one message that just changed everything. It read, "Hey Jamie, as you head into what might be the hardest and most dangerous part of your journey, I thought it might inspire you to be reminded what you are running for. You might recall Samuel, a little guy in an orange hat and a sweatshirt that you met in the city of Thunder Bay. Well, Samuel's cancer has returned, and he is out of treatment options. For now, we are enjoying every day and he's living a full, joyful life as best he can. It is devastating for us, obviously, but it's also motivating to make sure that you know that what you are doing is going to change the outcome for kids like him in the future. As a normal mum, I have to say first, be careful, Jamie. But of a mum of a child facing the end of his beautiful life, I say, keep going, Jamie." So I made it into Vancouver, and then I saw the beach, and I went over and I put my hand in the Pacific Ocean, but it wasn't quite enough, so I ran in and dove in, which is a bit silly because I nearly got hypothermia. In the end, the journey raised over $500,000 for sick children. Do you know what I didn't see coming though? Do you remember Daisy at the start of the journey that got me the motel key and got me the place to stay? Or the mum that ended up getting me the letter? They were my superheroes. Who are your superheroes? And even more important than that, who are you a superhero to today? Lastly, I'm just a normal bloke from Gloucester, but what I found is just more within here, and that's what every single one of us has. So whatever the challenges are for you, just find it within here. Find your superhero within you. Thank you very much. I think this is where the claps come in. So I'd say just over an hour we're going to be doing the meet and greet. So come on in, ask me any questions you want. I'm so honest, probably too honest, and we can have a little chinwag. But I do have a little surprise for you before we go. I was a bit vague through the Rocky Mountains, but what I'm going to share with you is the final clip where I hit the final summit of the Rocky Mountains, and after this it was all downhill into Vancouver. So here we go. Thanks very much everyone, you've been awesome.
It's the summit. Who's the daddy? Who's the daddy? Who is the daddy? I'll tell you who the daddy is. I'm the daddy! I am the daddy! I just got salt in my mouth. I'm the daddy.